We've got Sam in Texas. Sam, you're live with Eric and Thomas. What would you like to talk about? Hi.
Well, yeah, how you doing? I guess the reason why I'm calling is because...
Oh, what's up? Yeah, why are you calling?
Yeah.
What's up?
Well, a couple of things. One is you're the guy there, I forgot his name, since I don't have the computer in front of me, but
okay,
he was mentioning that, about evidence proving stories in the Bible are accurate or whatever it may be. So, you see, for an atheist, you need to see to believe, right?
Not necessarily.
That a fair statement?
I think that's a very reductionist.
You would need to.
I think it's a very.
What would be proof to you
of what?
That the Bible or Christian that the things in the Bible are true? What would be, like, for God, for instance? What would be proof to you? You would need to see God to believe it.
Okay, so
right?
I can absolutely help there. Is Nazareth a place? Bethlehem, Judea, right?
Well,
Where they're
what I'm helping you here.
Hold on.
Would seeing God help you?
Sam,
that's a simple question.
Sam, that's another question.
Okay,
I'm happy to answer the second one, but I want to finish answering the first one. Okay, cool. So, did Judea exist? Absolutely. Was there possibly a King David? Actually, evidence shows there may have been. There are events that, and places that we can see exist. And I'm not of the opinion that everything is wrong just because it's in the Bible.
Eric, listen.
Sam.
Please. I'm not telling you that places, I'm telling you God.
Sam, you specifically asked.
I'm telling you to believe in God.
Sam, you're changing the question.
You need to see God to believe God, right?
Sam, you're changing the question.
Go ahead.
The question that you asked was...
No, you want to talk about cities.
The Bible being true. Because you asked about the Bible being true. If you want to change the question, I'm fine with that. But if not, then if we don't make sure we're clear on what we're talking about, we're going to talk past each other. And then people get angry.
And you're talking... No, Eric. Listen, you're telling me cities that we can agree on are true in the Bible. That if we're talking about geography, then the Bible's true. I'm talking about God here. I'm not talking about cities.
Okay, so then let's not point at the Bible, and let's specifically talk about a claim that you want to know if I think it's true. So, would you like to point to a claim that you think I should believe is true?
Well, the reason why I'm talking about the Bible is because the Bible claims that there's a God. But you want to point out cities. I'm trying to tell you, for you to believe that there's a God, you need to see God in order to believe it. Is that correct?
Sam, I just want to butt in here because I think the reason you guys might be talking past each other is because you are asking whether or not the God of the Bible is true. And I think that there's two distinctions that can be made, because you can argue that whether or not God is true, but then there's a million different types of gods that could be. But then in order to argue that the God of the Bible is true, hear me out. If you want to argue that the God of the Bible is true, well, if we disprove the Bible, we haven't disproved the existence of a God or of all gods. We've just shown that the Bible itself isn't a credible source. And so the God of the Bible probably isn't true as defined in the Bible. And so which route do you want to go down?
Afraid to agree to anything I got to tell you.
Sam.
Okay? We wasted a lot of time right now.
Sam, I want you to listen very carefully. We're talking about points, and we're talking about the Bible. When you start saying you're afraid, you're making it personal. And if you make it personal, you can make it personal on somebody else's show. Okay?
Listen, Eric.
Sam,
want to talk about cities. I want to talk about God.
I want you to understand that, because that is your one warning. Okay? I don't do vitriolic name-calling crap.
Listen.
Okay? So let's...
This is what I'm kind of interested in.
Okay. Do you want to ask a question? Okay. Give us the clear question and then let us answer it. What is the question you want to ask? Because it sounds like it's not, why don't we believe in the Bible? What one specific thing do you want us to talk about? You get one, because this call-in show, we've got lots of other calls. God.
God.
Okay.
You need to see God to believe him?
Okay.
Do you need to see to believe?
So
God,
there's Sam.
That's the question, sir. That's
Okay.
the question I'm asking you.
Sure. Let's take a look at the God.
God to believe him.
Yeah. Do you think that different denominations of Christianity have different thoughts about God? Are you a Mormon? Are you a Seventh-day Adventist? Are you a Catholic? They all have different definitions. So before you get on your high horse, let's make sure we're understanding what we're talking about. Can you define what are some characteristics of that God? Maybe if I know what characteristics you're talking about, we can look for them together.
Eric, can you share with the audience, what did your screener put down by my name, the reason for my call?
Caller thinks hosts need to view the Bible in a different light.
Right. So that's what I'm bringing you. I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about cities. I'm specifically talking about God, because can we agree that the Bible claims that there is a living God? Can we agree with that?
Okay.
I can agree with that.
If just for the sake of argument, I want to see where you're going. Oh, yeah, we can agree that the Bible claims that. Sure, why not?
Okay. The Bible claims that there is a living God. That's all I'm trying to say here. That's the reason why I brought up the Bible. But right away, you're talking about, and then I mentioned, secondly, is that you need to see to believe. And after I said that, you immediately started going off into Jerusalem and
Sam,
Judea and Bethlehem and Israel. And I'm like, I'm talking about God here. I'm not talking about a continent.
I think that the whole seeing to believe
God to believe, right? You need to see to believe.
It's more complicated than that, because it certainly would help to be able to see a God. I think absolutely, if we're able to see a God, I think that would go a long way. The fact is we can't, but just because you do see a God doesn't mean that it's true, because there's a lot of religions, I think you would agree with me, like Muhammad claimed that he had encounters with God, and you probably would agree that that's not the right God. And lots of people have claimed that they've seen gods and deities. Egyptians had their whole pantheon. Norse gods had their gods. Many people claimed that they had divine encounters with deities, but I don't think you believe that those are true. So I don't think that just because you have an experience like that in itself is necessarily sufficient, because there's so many reasons why our brains can misfire and why we can think we experience things that may not even be there at all. Does that that makes the question a little more complicated for sure, but I think that that's how we have to start looking at it.
This is completely amazing to me that I started the conversation with a simple question of, you need to see to believe.
No, that is an accusation, Sam.
We haven't
Do you
even
understand how
gone
language works? Sam, you need to see to believe is an accusation about us and how we interact with the world. You didn't ask us. You carried with you the assumption.
But I just told you, Sam, that if I saw that,
Sam,
I need to see to believe.
Sam, we're answering. You need to listen. Thomas, do you want to say that again?
Sam, what I was saying is, you're saying we need to see to believe, and I'm saying actually seeing isn't really sufficient.
Depending on what the claim is.
The thing is, I was actually going to try to agree with you guys that I need to see to believe, because honestly and truthfully, that's the way I live. I got to see to believe. That's the only thing that makes me a Christian. That's the only thing that makes me a believer in God, is because I need to see to believe. And so my reason is because you're not going to answer about agreeing on that specific quote. I'm just
Whoa, stop, Sam. I answered you didn't like it. Do not mischaracterize that.
I must have missed it. What was your answer?
My answer is,
do you agree with that quote? That yes, you need to see to believe?
No, I said like 3 times, no, seeing is insufficient.
Sometimes, most of the time, there's a lot more.
Wow. If I had God stand in front of me, I would believe.
You're not listening. Why don't you respond? You asked the question and he answered it. Do you understand that he answered it?
That yes, that
Do you
that
agree
he's
that
saying
he answered it?
That's not the case for him.
Do
For
you
me,
agree that he answered it?
then
Do you agree that
yes,
he answered it? Yes or
yes.
no, Sam?
Yes, Eric. Yes,
Perfect.
Eric.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now we can move forward.
So the thing, okay. Then with that said, then I'll just say for your co-host for the day that he's unsavable because even seeing, he says he wouldn't believe. You see, this is what the Bible tells us.
I really don't care about what the Bible tells us because I don't think it hasn't. I don't think it's true.
Denying God.
Okay.
Sam,
Because
would you agree though that I'm wrong? Would you agree? Or do you think that I'm wrong in saying that if you see another God from
Can you tell
another
me your name
religion,
again? I'm sorry.
that's insufficient?
Did you hear what he said?
No, what I heard him
No,
say.
Sam. Did you
is
hear
that
what Thomas just said right now?
Thomas, yes.
Did you hear what he said?
Thomas. That it wouldn't be sufficient.
Like
So
if
you
you
need
see
more
a
than to see
Hindu
a God.
appear before you, would you instantly believe that that God is real?
Yes, I would.
You would. So if all of a
Yes.
sudden you saw some crazy wild outlandish thing, you would just believe whatever you saw. You wouldn't think maybe I'm having a focal point seizure, maybe I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, maybe I ate a spoiled piece of meat last night, or maybe I'm on drugs, or
did I answer the question? Eric, stop him. Tell him. Did I answer the question?
You did, and
Eric,
he's
did I answer the question? I answered the question. Look at Thomas. Here's the thing. I'm telling you right now, as a Christian and a full-on child of God, that if a Hindu God appeared before me, I would believe that Hindu God.
And that's why I think that. God. Yeah, that's why I think that
because I need to see to believe.
That's why I think the tools you're using are crappy. Do you believe in all of the people who say that they were abducted by aliens?
I'm not talking about other people. I'm saying you yourself. You, Eric. You, Thomas.
I don't care.
You, Thomas, doubting Thomas. If you put if God appeared to you in the flesh, would you believe
using
him?
these other instances to show you how Sam, we're using these other instances to show you how unreliable eyewitness testimony is, and including your own eyes.
I'm talking about people. I'm talking about you.
I know.
Congratulations.
Saying my eyes too can deceive me. My brain can deceive me. This whole experience can be tampered with. It's not the most reliable tool. Watch an episode of Brain Games. Like in Brain Games, they'll go through and they'll show you a million different ways where there's people who have been put in prison for decades of their life and who've lost decades of their life only to have DNA evidence exonerate them because they were put in jail because of eyewitness testimony that got it wrong.
Okay, listen, Thomas. All I'm saying is there's no help for you. But I'm going to go to Eric now for a second. Eric.
Hey,
if
Sam.
God appeared to himself in front of you, would you believe him?
Sam?
Yes. Yes, sir.
I do the pacing for the show, not you. If you want to railroad us, you can create your own show. But this is a dialogue, not the show that Sam is running. So, when we hit the brakes, you're going to break. Got it?
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So, we talked about, I'm going to recap. I want to make sure that you agree we're on the same page. You came in with the accusation and the assertion that we need to see to believe. We disagreed with you, and I might be just speaking for Thomas, but I don't think that I'm very special as a human. I think I'm just a human like anybody else, and I think Thomas agrees with that. And because of that, when we bring up,
I don't know. Apparently, there's no hope for me.
Well,
which is incredibly condescending.
I mean, God can appear himself before you, and you would say that your mind is deceiving you. Is that not true? Did you just say that? I mean, God can literally appear in front of you.
There are ways to test things and to try to see if something is reliable and true, and we can get into what some of those methods are. But I don't think that
we don't have that time. We just have. Okay, I'm sorry.
Just because I see something, I don't think that means that it's necessarily true. It would help. It would definitely help if I was able to see and engage with the God. It would help even more if everyone else was able to see it too and engage with it and test it and use scientific tests on it.
Yeah, but the tool that you're using, Sam, is the same tool that people use to justify the fact that they still think Elvis is alive and that people get abducted by aliens and that they see Bigfoot. It's the same reasoning.
No.
They said they see it. No. Tell me how it's different.
Amazing.
Stop it. Tell me how it's different.
Because what's different is that God can appear in your studio right now in a flash of an eye.
Well, then why doesn't
wait, stop.
Hang on, wait, let's wait. God, can you like appear on camera? It would right now. It would really help me and everyone watching if we could have God.
But the thing is,
right now. Hold on a second. Hold on. God, are you there? Oh, what?
Did you see that?
Oh my gosh! I think we might be believers now. Sam,
here's the thing.
Sam, yeah, no. The claim is exactly
here's
the same.
The thing, Eric.
The claim is the same.
You don't believe.
The claim is the same. They said they believe. They said they believe it because they saw it. And if seeing is believing for you, then if you're going to be consistent, do you believe in Bigfoot?
What are you saying? He hasn't seen.
This is what I'm saying, Eric.
No, Eric answer me yes or no. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
Entire audience.
Do you believe in Bigfoot?
I do not.
Okay, do you believe the people who say that they've been abducted by aliens? Do you believe their stories?
No, I don't.
Do you think that they're lying, or do you think that they actually saw something and just are mistaken?
Because I already told you, you missed it. I need to
can you repeat it then? Because I must have not caught it.
I've been saying this since for like I said it about a dozen times. You see, I've already said I need to see to believe. So if I saw somebody get abducted by aliens, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to believe.
Sam, I'm talking specifically about people who've had these or claim that they've had these experiences. Do you think that they're all completely lying and they're con artists, or do you think that they believe it? Like, do you think that they're genuine? The people who claim that they saw something and were abducted by aliens, do you think that they're just mistaken, but they saw something, or that they're completely lying and they didn't see anything? Like, which of those two?
No. I'm telling you that
which of those two do you think that they experienced?
Well, I could care less because none of them matter because I need to see it to believe it.
Sam, will you humor me for this? Which two do you think that is the case? Do you think that they experienced something and they're mistaken, or that they're all liars?
They're all liars, for sure.
They're all liars. So everyone who thinks that they saw Bigfoot, thinks that they saw Loch Ness, thinks that they were abducted by aliens, thinks that they saw Elvis, every single one of them is a dishonest charlatan liar.
Is that my right?
Yeah, it's your right.
It's your right to be an asshole. That's fine.
No, I don't even think it's an asshole thing to be wrong. Like, I just think that you're wrong.
Act like I'm being stoned. Set down the rocks, please.
No, hold on a second.
Yes, they're all liars.
If you're going to point at an entire group of people and say what you are firmly claiming about yourself and your beliefs is you are lying to my face and you know you're lying, that right there is shitty. When people call into this show, I don't assume that you're lying to me. I assume that you are bringing your best and that you believe the things you're saying, because we want to practice integrity and assume that you're an honest interlocutor who really believes that, so that we can meet you where you are and have that conversation. The fact you're not willing to do that with other people is evidenced by the fact that when you came on the show, you made an accusation about us. And when we tried to tell you that's not the case, all you did was talk over us. I think you need to practice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you Christian?
Well, if we were Christian, would you treat us better?
I didn't know that you guys were Christian, because I thought you guys didn't believe in Christianity and it was all fairy tales like I've been listening to for the last month. You guys talking about.
Wait. Being a Christian have to do?
Hallelujah.
Have I ever said it was all fairy tales?
On this whole thing, but I didn't know you were so offended.
I think you got in a really bad argument on Facebook, and you're taking your rage out on us. Talk to us. Don't.
1 second. I really want him to. He's shortening his noose, and I want to see where he goes with this. You said, "Are we Christian?" What does that have? Are you saying that non-Christians can't be honest and only Christians can be honest?
No, because of the fact that you're a non-Christian. In other words, I'm a non-believer in these extraterrestrials and these Bigfoots. I'm not an agnostic. Are you an agnostic, or are you a Talk Heathen? Are you an atheist?
No, I'm
kind of getting mixed signals here.
That's a false dichotomy. There are plenty of Christians. Sam, that's a false dichotomy. There are plenty of Christians who believe in Bigfoot. There are plenty of Christians who believe in Loch Ness and who believe in aliens.
Well, I'm only one man. I mean, I'm not speaking for everybody. You guys speak for everybody. I don't. I called to talk to you and Thomas, Eric and Thomas. But you're over here, you know.
This guy's a troll.
I don't think so, because he reminds me of my uncle. I've honestly had these conversations. So I think he's got a very, very clear thought in his head about it. And instead of honestly engaging, I think he's arguing against, it's called a straw man. When you build up this idea of a person and attack that idea instead of the person, we're giving you examples. We're trying to provide teachable moments, and instead you're interrupting and saying you're not talking about you specifically. We're giving you all of these different responses to respond to the numerous things, which, by the way, is called moving the goalposts, right? So I think we're done with our time with you, and I think that you please need to practice charitable listening. Okay?
Let's just make one.
Did you hear what I said?
The frustrating thing here, Sam, the frustrating thing here for me at least, is that you started this conversation with an assumption of what we believed without asking us what we believed. You assumed that, oh, you have to, if you see it, you'll believe it. And otherwise, you know, there's no hope for you. And I think when we told you that that wasn't the case, and when we didn't fit your little box, when we didn't fit this narrative that you created, then you got upset.
Tried to stop us in
it. And then you just said that, oh, everyone who, you know, claims that they, you know, see or believe a particular thing, they're all just liars. And I think that is where, like, you've got some work to do, man. If you really want to connect with people, and if you really want to engage with them and learn from them, because you can learn something from anyone, but especially from people who disagree with you. If you want to learn and have productive conversations, you have to listen and not just assume that you know what they believe before you start the conversation.
And if your assumption is that they're a liar, don't start the conversation, because you're not ready to have it.
Listen, guys. Okay,
let's
just make this perfectly clear for your audience. Yeah.
No. You don't get this audience unless I say you do.
Audience.
Sam, you don't get this audience unless I say you do. So listen. Charitable listening.
Is it okay, Eric?
When someone says something, okay, you're done. You don't get this fucking audience. Bye. You can fucking listen to the playback. Charitable listening. If someone says something and it could be taken the wrong way, right? What you want to do is assume that they meant the best possible version of that you can interpret that in the best way. Let them let you down, but don't assume that they're dishonest. Don't assume that they're liars. And for fuck's sake, don't try and fit them into a box because you can attack the box better. We deserve better than that. We try to make sure we do that by giving that same by giving that same opportunity to our callers. He's not ready to have the conversation. You ready for the next call? Actually,
what have we got?
Actually, before we do that, it's time to thank our patrons. We are past the mark where we normally do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Talk Heathen is a product of the atheist community of Austin. If you like what we do, you want to see these conversations, one of the great things is people don't get to have that conversation normally. And so at least you get to see it played out. And the fact is, if somebody gets to that point, they're not worth your time. They're just not.
But if you want to support the atheist community of Austin, you can send them Dogecoin.
Or go to patreon.com/talkheathen to me. Our top 5 patrons this week are Eric Tweet, Dingleberry Jackson, Desert Heathen, Bethany P, and Marry Me V.
Well, somebody's a bit of a fan.
I don't know what to think about that. Somebody asked if I created that account, and I'm just like, that would be a very roundabout way to do that. I mean, cheers and thank you. And of course, I'm not going to leave out Balaam's donkey. and to everybody else who's a patron, you rock. We so appreciate your support, and it's all the way down to the $1 level. Everything helps. It is going to a nonprofit organization, and if you don't want to go to Patreon, there is a donate link right above the live chat right now, and it 100% goes to the ACA. The YouTube doesn't take a cut, so that helps.
It looks like coming up on their tail, we got Paul Lee. So
yeah,
you guys can donate all the way to the top and get your name right off.
That said,
is it like the most donations per month or like the most of all time?
So no, that wouldn't be fair.
Or the highest pledge tier.
What I look up is the pledge amount, and a lot of people don't pledge necessarily at a tiered level, but they get something they're comfortable with. And so I look up the pledge amount. If somebody like wanted to donate and do a big donation in 1 week, we're going to read their name that week, and then they'll probably not be up and have the name read next week.
But it's not like, oh man, this person's been a lifetime patron for 30 years and there's no way that you're ever going to outpledge them.
If that's the case, I think we need to put their name on a brick
just
and have that at the ACA.
Should we get to the next caller, or do we have a few more announcements?
Before we get to the next caller, I do want to say that our crew has been freaking amazing. They've been sending us notes. Apparently, when you were talking about Uri Geller, so Geller actually sued Pokemon because of Alakazam having the spoons and Kadabra.
What?
Yeah. Like, it's ridiculous, but
I take it he lost that lawsuit.
We get some amazing facts from them. Is there any way we can move to the crew cam? We love you guys.
Geller's dangerous because he's super litigious. He sues people left and right. So I'm sorry if us talking about it makes him sue this show.
Oh, we've got lawyers now. All right, we love you guys. Thank you so much for being there and working to make sure that this show's happening. And also thank you to the mods who are in the live chat, kicking butt, taking names, and making sure that this is an okay place for people to interact and not toxic as all hell. So thank you for that.
Who sues Pokemon?
I know. I know.
What?
That's right up there with Metallica suing all of the fans who downloaded their music illegally. Did you ever hear about that?
No.
They slapped people during Napster. They slapped people with lawsuits
geez.
for downloading their music, like massive lawsuits. Like, it's, you downloaded our music illegally. That means they're a fan, and they were like,
we're going to sue you
suing
directly.
the hell out of their own.
Not
fans.
Just like the DMCA doing a takedown, but
no, it was absolutely nuts. I never forgave them to this day.